What's going on, guys? Matthew back again, this time for the review of Penguin Episode 4. Let's get into it. This episode is directed by Helen Shaver, written by John McCutcheon, and I didn't previously mention this. The showrunner is the same writer from, I think, a couple episodes previously, Lauren LaFranc. So we started this episode where we left off last time with Oz and Sophia being held at gunpoint when Victor comes and rescues them, or really rescues Oz. Oz leaves Sophia, just like last time, but we see that from her perspective. When Victor runs into the car, she bumps her head or hits her head on the pavement. I thought that was a little strange the way that was shot and executed. I don't know if you would really hit your head that hard from just falling over from your knees onto the pavement. That could have been executed a little better. Maybe if she had gotten hit in the head with the gun, and not Oz instead. But either way, I thought that was executed a little weird. But then she passes out in an alleyway after telling her therapist, his name is, I think, Julian Rush, that it was Oz that betrayed her. We then flash back to Sophia at not a charity, some kind of event to honor her mother who committed suicide, and is to represent all those who are afflicted with suicidal thoughts and those tendencies. It's here that when she leaves that a reporter runs into her and wants to ask her questions. She's really hesitant to talk to press because she's obviously a part of a crime family, so she doesn't want to do that. At this point in time, Oz is her driver. They then leave from there. And it's there that we go back even further to where Sophia's a child, and she finds her mother dead from hanging, which would obviously be traumatic for anyone. We are finally introduced to Mark Strong, who is now playing Carmine Falcone, taking up that role from the person who played Carmine in the movie. Here it is Mark Strong. He does do a good job. I don't know if I've ever seen Mark Strong with hair. He's usually been bald and everything, and I thought it was kind of funny how normal he actually looks with hair. I wasn't expecting that. I know it's a weird thing to talk about, but it's just something I noticed. I had to bring it up. Sophia ultimately does decide to go meet the reporter, and the reporter shows her pictures of all the women who have been hanged, but it looks like they've actually been choked physically by someone's hands, and they have defensive wounds, so it's not suicidal at all. It's apparent that her father's doing this. Sophia is in deep denial and insults the reporter before going back to her car, and then insulting Oz to his face. Now, we know from watching this show, Oz does not like to be insulted or made fun of at all. So then Oz goes and betrays Sophia, tells her father Carmine that she met with a reporter. This ultimately really screws over Sophia. Sophia goes to talk to her father. She lets it be known to him that she knows that he's the murderer, that he's actually the hangman. Now, how do I feel about this? In the comic books, Sophia Falcone, at least in the ones I've read, in Dark Victory, spoiler alert for Dark Victory, Sophia Falcone is the hangman. She does kill people. Also, I think I've mentioned this earlier in previous reviews, Sophia in the comics is a much bigger woman. She's like a linebacker. So physically, she is able to hang people. I was hoping that in the show that she would still be the hangman, but because of her size, that maybe she would poison or drug men or women and leave them conscious, but not able to move, and then she would strangle them. But unfortunately, she's not the hangman. She was set up. Now, this is executed very well in the show. It does make you really feel for Sophia. The Batman fan in me doesn't like it just because it's not correct or in line with what happened in the comics. But I have to admit, the way it's executed in the show, it really makes you feel for Sophia. So I'm okay with it for the time being. It's fine with me right now. Let's see, we move from there. Her and Oz leave. He's going to take her home. Ordered by Carmine to take her home. This is where they run into the police who have been called by Carmine, and they arrest Sophia, and she has now been framed for the murders that her father has committed. Oz does try to step in and stop them. And it does seem true that what Oz said in the previous episode, that he did betray her, but he never thought that Carmine would send her to Arkham. That does seem to be true for the moment. Who knows? There's a bunch of liars in this show. We don't know if he knew that that was the plan, was to send her to Arkham. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if we did find out that Oz knew that. But at this point, we don't know that. Let's see. So she goes to Arkham, and it's here that we are reintroduced to the inside of Arkham. It's really well designed, really cramped spaces, small rooms for the inmates, and we see the creepy inmates in their cells. We are reintroduced to is it Julia or Julius Rush, Julian Rush, who is one of the doctors there at Arkham, and it's here that we meet Sophia's, not her roommate, but the inmate next to her, and her name is Margaret, but she calls herself Magpie, and has apparently murdered her own mother for not calling her Magpie. Now, I thought this actress was absolutely fantastic in the role. Her voice was high and creepy. At first, I was really hoping that this would be Harley Quinn. I thought the voice, the look, everything was really great for Harley Quinn, but unfortunately, it's not Harley Quinn. It's just a crazy person in Arkham known as Magpie. And she is great in this show. From there, Sophia is sent to shock therapy over and over and over again for a period of 6 months. And previously, she had been told that her trial would be 6 months after her incarceration in Arkham. So she goes through this shock therapy for 6 months, and over the course, she goes crazy, starts to see her old mother's room's wallpaper in her own room, until ultimately seeing her mother again hanging, but it's just herself. She's just absolutely losing her mind. They even set her up in the cafeteria multiple times, unleashing one patient to beat her up, bringing her back in there and giving her a fork and an opportunity to kill that person that beat her up. That patient ends up killing herself, and Sophia just keeps getting crazier and crazier. She finds out eventually when she goes to meet her brother. Her brother shows up to talk to her, and he informs her that she's not going to have a trial like she was told, that she's going to be stuck there. It's at this point that she has completely lost it. She goes to the cafeteria. Magpie is running her mouth, and then Sophia just decides to beat the hell out of Magpie, and she kills her. She beats her to death, and then tells the lead doctor that she's innocent. Well, now she's not. She's now a murderer. She's a killer now, and she's crossed that line now. And it's at this point that she's drugged, and we flash forward back to the present. She's in Julian Rush's apartment or office, and it's at this point that it's the final straw. Oz's betrayal is the final straw, and we know now why she is crazy, or why she has those crazy eyes that we were introduced to in episode 1. She was never crazy to begin with, but when she was unjustly sent to Arkham, she was made crazy in Arkham. Arkham made her crazy, and it made her a murderer. It completely changed her life. Her father changed her life completely. And this is the final straw. She's been betrayed too much. Oz is the final straw. And now she decides that she's going to do what she feels to be justice. She's going to go back home. She dresses up in this nice gown or whatever, does her hair, goes to dinner, shows a complete lack of respect for everybody, disrupts the dinner, interrupts Luca, who's giving a speech. She taps on her glass and interrupts him, gives a speech of her own. And then it's at this moment, or that night, that she wakes up her niece, takes her out to the greenhouse, and lets her spend the night there. And we find out that she has poisoned everybody inside by releasing the fumes from the basement and killing everyone except Vidi, who she walks into her room. And I'm guessing that because Vidi had his windows open, that's why he wasn't subject to the poisoning. I don't know how she knew his window would be open, or if when she was smoking that cigarette, if that was his window that she had opened previously to make sure that he stayed alive. But either way, Vidi's alive. She walks in there with her gun and basically tells him to come with her. So now she has Vidi as a hostage. I don't know what her plan is with Vidi. There's really nothing to do with Vidi now that Luke is dead, because they knew that Vidi was having sex with Luca's wife. But that's pointless now. Luke is dead. His wife is dead. Everybody's dead except Vidi. So I don't know what her plan is with Vidi. The episode ends there. This was very much a Sophia-centric episode. Penguin is barely in this episode at all. We just see his previous life as Sophia's driver, and that's really it. But this was a great episode for Sophia. I'm looking forward to getting back to Penguin, Oz, and seeing more with him, given the fact that the show is called Penguin. I still like Sophia. I still like that she's a crazy killer now. So she might not be the hangman, which sucks, but she is still a crazy killer like she's supposed to be. Her performance is still great. I think it's Kristen Milioti is her name. Still great performance. I have to give this episode a 10 out of 10 as well. I didn't have any problems with the story, the writing, the acting, cinematography, or the pace. Everything was great. This show is great. If you haven't watched it yet, please get started. It's a really great show. But I think I covered everything. Oh, also, I didn't know she was in there for 10 years. They might have mentioned that in previous episodes. That's a massive amount of time to be in a place like Arkham. And it makes a lot of sense why she has those crazy eyes. And honestly, you got to give her credit for being in Arkham for 10 years and being innocent of what she's there for. You might think she'd be even crazier, but she's a great character. It was really cool to see her backstory, but that's the episode, guys. I really liked it. Let me know if I missed anything. If you disagree with anything, let me know in the comments below. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.